The fur traders of the Pacific Northwest. Our flag pays homage to the United Kingdom with the red crown. The animal itself represents the pelts that were sought after, while the golden tint demonstrates the monetary worth of the pelt. The blue behind the anchor represents the oceans the trappers navigated to reach the coast. The anchor is literally part of a sea vessel that the fur traders sailed with. The gray of the anchor pays tribute to the rugged Cascade Mountain ranges that some trappers braved to cross. The green behind the animal can be interpreted as the green landscape given to us by the abundance of trees in the Pacific Northwest. Origin. On the left we have Captain James Cook of the UK, and on the right we have Seaman Denzanov of Russia. The first charted fur trading expedition was in 1648 by a Russian named Seaman Denzanov. Early on, the fur trading industry would be dominated by Russians. This would remain the case until the 1700s, when Europeans colonized. In March of 1778, on his third voyage, Captain James Cook would land in what is present-day Newport, Oregon. He wouldn't spend much time in Oregon. He would venture north to Nootka Sound of Alaska. There he and his crew would encounter a local tribe of Native Americans. Those Native Americans introduced Cook's crew to beaver pelts. The crew found the pelts to be highly efficient to mend their tattered clothing. Cook's crew traded any metal items they could find. When they traveled to China, they realized that a single pelt could fetch around $100. In today's money, that would be $2,680. They would inspire people to head west and start an industry.
Settlement. Fort Astor. John Jacob Astor and his Pacific Fur Trading Company created this fort to brave the harsh winters of the Oregon coast. Little did they know that the site would grow and thrive into a city. The town of Astoria would be the home of many cinematic masterpieces such as The Goonies, Kindergarten Cop, the Free Willy trilogy, and lastly Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Fort Nisqually. Founded in April of 1832, the Nisqually House would be the first European fort on the Puget Sound. The fort was owned and operated by the Hudson Bay Company. A single cabin remains and is considered a historical national landmark. Fort William. Owned by Nathan Jarvis Waite, an American investor, Fort William was located on Wapatu Island. Waite would sell his business to Hudson Bay Company. The fort is famous for murder. When the fort's gunsmith attacked and killed the tailor over a squabble about a young native girl, Fort Vancouver. This was the site for the HQ of the Hudson Bay Company. The port would be the regional shipping center, many imports coming from London and fur exports to China. This fort connected the world.
Economic impact. The fur traders had to transport the furs long distance to the eastern United States, Western Europe, or China. In China, there were traded the sea otter and the beaver pelts for the tea silk species and the other oriental riches. They took them back to America and Europe, and these were sold to buyers at a very high prices. In the late 1700s, Native American fur traders traded their fur to soldiers from Russia, Britain, Ireland, and China. These pelts were originally worth about 100 in their time. When they were first discovered, about 2,300 in 2017. In the early 1800s, the prices of the fur dropped to about 22 per pelt, which was still expensive for this time, about 420 in 2017. The American dollar about became weaker over this time period.
Trading companies. Hudson Bay Company, owned by British and the largest and most successful trading company. The company was founded by Groseilliers and Radisson in 1670. Hudson Bay Company was set up as a joint stock company, and the permission of governor was needed for the sale of stock. Traded furs and traded goods with the Native Americans. Pacific Fur Company. The first company was set up a trading post on the Pacific Northwest coast. It was founded in 1810. Half of the stock in this company was held by American Fur Company, which was owned by John Jacob Astor. founder of the American Fur Company. It was based in the Pacific Northwest, an area contested over decades between the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. The
We
Spanish
just lost the.
Northwest Fur Company. Northwest Fur Company, fur trading organization in North America in late 18th. It was led by businessman Benjamin Frostbeaver, his brothers Joseph, Simon, Robert, Nicholas, Patrick, William, and George. The Northwest Company was a fur trading business headquartered in Montreal from 1779 to 1821. The Northwest Company and Hudson Bay Company competed with increasing success. After 1810s, between the Northwest Company and Hudson Bay Company grew in density and became a problem for the British government.
Socioeconomic impact. The fur traders created an entirely new race during their tenure over in the West. This race would be dubbed as Metis. Metis is when a fur trading European man has a child with a native woman. The Metis currently account for 1.4% of Canada's population. The Metis have been considered as Aboriginals of Canada since 1982 under the Constitution Act. Their culture and descendants can be traced back to around 1650. Today, they have around 451,795 people accounting to their population.
The wars disrupted the trade. By the 1640s, many areas were used by the Iroquois for gathering furs. They started a series of the wars that did not end until 1690s. They combined the forces of the League of the Iroquois and destroyed some tribes such as Watomai, Wajba, Watusuck, and Fox. The Iroquois wars were very destructive and many refugee Indians suffered. Also, the Iroquois wars disrupted the flow of the furs to the French colony Quebec.
Early trade. The North American fur trade was the earliest economic entrepreneur. Europeans, Canadians, and Americans hunted and trapped furs. The first Europeans to purchase furs from the Native Americans were French and English fishermen. In exchange, the Native Americans received European manufactured goods such as guns, metal cooking utensils, and cloth. This trade made voyages to North America only to trade in furs. The great explorers such as Carter, Giovanni Caboto, Henry Hudson, Giovanni di Verrazzano, and even Christopher Columbus made their famous voyages. While Carter's voyages did not result in lasting French settlement in North America, they did expand trade between the French and Native Americans.